She didn't expect her mother's handwriting to hit her this hard, not after all these years, not after all the pain they left behind. But there she was, standing in the attic, breathing in dust and old memories, holding a small envelope with her name written in that familiar cursive. Her hands were shaking a little, the kind of shake you get when you know life's about to turn a corner you didn't ask for. The house was quiet, too quiet. A floorboard creaked behind her, like someone had taken a step, and she froze. She almost called out, but stopped herself. It was just the house settling, or at least that's what she told her nerves. She looked back down at the envelope. It was sealed, neat, clean, untouched. And the strange part? Her mother had been gone for 9 years. She shouldn't have found this. She wasn't meant to find this. But now that it was in her hand, she couldn't walk away. Up until that afternoon, her life was pretty simple. Nothing wild, nothing dramatic, just a quiet routine in a small Carolina town where folks still waved when they drove past your driveway. Her name was Megan Lawson, 44 years old, divorced, no kids, and the kind of woman who kept her porch light on a little too long at night. Not because she was scared of the dark, more because she liked the comfort of it. A little glow that said you're not alone, even when she felt like she was. She hadn't planned on cleaning out the attic. She hadn't planned on finding anything more interesting than a few Christmas ornaments and her ex-husband's old fishing gear. But life doesn't always care about your plans. Sometimes it just hands you a letter that changes everything. Megan didn't grow up with much, but her mother, Linda, always made the house feel warm. Fresh cornbread in the kitchen, laundry folded neatly, windows always cracked open to let in the breeze. It was the kind of childhood that looked steady from the outside, but anyone close to the Lawsons knew things weren't perfect. Her mother had secrets, not big ones at first. Little things Megan brushed off as grown-up problems. But as she got older, those secrets got heavier. And when Megan turned 21, her mother sat her down and said, "Honey, there are things you're better off not knowing." Back then, Megan let it slide. Now, standing in that attic, she felt every one of those old words crawl back to her. She brushed dust off a few boxes and kept sorting through old belongings. Most of it wasn't worth keeping. A faded photo album, a broken lamp, a stack of magazines from the 90s. Then she noticed a wooden box she didn't recognize. Small, dark cherry wood, no latch, no engraving, just there. She lifted it, surprisingly heavy. Inside it, she found the envelope, the one with her name on it, Megan. Just that. No date, no return address, no instructions. Her heart gave a small thump in her chest. Not fear, something else, something closer to a memory knocking on the door. She set the letter down and looked through the rest of the box. A set of keys, a folded map, a faded receipt from a gas station in Tennessee, and a small photograph of her mother standing beside a man Megan had never seen before. She blinked. Her stomach tightened. Her mother smiling. The man, arm around her shoulders, like they were close, very close. Megan whispered, "Who the hell are you?" Her voice echoed slightly in the attic, soft but sharp. She picked up the letter again, turning it over. She brought her thumb to the edge of the seal and hesitated. "Not yet," she murmured. She needed to sit down. She needed to breathe. She needed to process what she was looking at. So she went downstairs, made herself a cup of coffee, and stared at the envelope on her kitchen table like it was a live wire. Part of her wanted to tear it open right there. Another part, the part that knew how complicated her mother could be, wasn't sure she was ready. Outside, a truck rumbled down the street. Kids laughed somewhere in the distance. Life carried on like it didn't care what Megan was holding in her hand. She exhaled slowly, then picked up the photograph again. Her mother looked younger, happier, maybe even relieved. The man, tall, dark hair, a smile that felt a little too familiar. Something tugged at her. I've seen that smile before, but she couldn't place it. Not yet. And just then, the doorbell rang. A sharp, unexpected chime that made her flinch. She wasn't expecting anyone. Not today, not this week, not ever, really. She wiped her palms on her jeans, took one more look at the envelope, and headed toward the front door. As she reached for the knob, she felt it again, that same uneasy flutter in her chest. Later, she'd realized she should have trusted it. The warning was right there. Megan cracked the door open just an inch at first. Old habit, she lived alone, and the world wasn't as gentle as it used to be. Standing on her porch was a man in his late 50s, gray stubble, weather-worn jacket, hands tucked into his pockets like he'd been waiting a while. She didn't recognize him, but something about the way he held himself felt familiar. Not comforting, not threatening, just familiar in a way she couldn't explain. "Afternoon," he said, giving her a small nod. She didn't open the door any wider. "Can I help you?" He glanced past her into the house, not rude, just observant. "I'm looking for a woman named Lawson. Lived here years back. Linda Lawson." "You her daughter?" Her shoulders tensed. "Yeah, I'm Megan. What's this about?" He wet his lips like he was choosing his next words carefully. "Your mom and we knew each other a long time ago." That sentence landed like a stone in her stomach, because that picture in the attic, the man standing next to her mother, it wasn't him. This guy was older, broader, rougher around the edges, not the one in the photo. Still, something about him felt tied to all of it. She opened the door a little more, but kept her hand on the frame. "What do you want?" He pulled out a folded slip of paper from his jacket. "Just came to drop this off. Found it when I was moving some old boxes. Thought she might want it back, or you might." She reached for it slowly. His eyes tracked her movement, not in a creepy way, more like he was studying her reaction. The paper was thin, yellowed, with a phone number scribbled in the corner and a date that made her heart skip. 1997. Her throat tightened. That was the year everything in her house shifted. Her parents fought more. Her mother cried in the laundry room sometimes when she thought no one could hear. She cleared her throat. "You were friends?" He gave a slow nod. "Something like that." The way he said it made the hair on her arms lift. He wasn't lying, but he wasn't giving the whole truth either. She looked down at the paper again, noticing a faint stain on one edge. Coffee, maybe, or something else. "What is this? Why bring it now?" He kept his gaze steady. "Because I figured you'd find the rest sooner or later." Her breath caught. What rest? But the man stepped back, like the conversation was already over. "Just take care of yourself, all right? Things from the past got a way of coming up when you least expect it." "That doesn't explain anything." He tipped his head, half apology, half warning. "No, I don't suppose it does." And just like that, he walked away. No goodbye, no explanation. He got into an old white truck, turned the engine, and pulled off down the street like he'd done what he came to do. Megan stood there for a moment, feeling the chill of the open doorway wrap around her legs. She shut the door and locked it out of habit, then looked down at the slip of paper again. 1997. A phone number. An initial scribbled underneath. R.S. She didn't know anyone with those initials. Not from her mom's past, not from her own. She set the paper next to the photo on the table, then the envelope. All three items seemed to hum with the same strange energy. "Okay," she whispered. "What were you hiding, Mom?" She sat down, reached for the envelope again, and felt her thumb press into the sealed edge. She still didn't open it. Not yet. Part of her felt like she should understand the pieces before she saw the whole picture. She turned the photograph over. Nothing on the back. No date, no names. But the background behind her mother and the mystery man caught her eye. It wasn't anywhere she recognized. A small country diner with a faded red sign. Looked like something off a rural highway. She grabbed her phone and zoomed in on the sign. The words were blurry, but readable. Mason's Diner, Est 1952. A tiny diner with a generic name, but something about it rang a bell. The map in the box upstairs, the gas station receipt from Tennessee. She walked back to the attic, pulled the wooden box into the light, and opened the folded map. Someone had marked a route, a single red line leading to a tiny town near the Tennessee border. Her pulse picked up. Her mother had never mentioned traveling there, ever. As she traced the line with her finger, she noticed a small circle drawn in the corner of the map. Not around the diner, not around a road, around a spot in the middle of nowhere, a place with no town, no landmark, no label. Just circled. "What were you doing out there?" she whispered. She sat back, letting the attic light fall across her face, dust dancing in the air like little ghosts of old memories. Then her eyes widened. Something she'd missed before. Inside the wooden box, hidden under the folded map, was a second envelope. Smaller, older, more fragile. Her name wasn't on this one. Instead, in her mother's handwriting, "Do not open unless absolutely necessary." Megan stared at that. Her mouth went dry. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by dust and secrets, she finally felt it fully, that cold whisper in her chest. Whatever her mother had been hiding, it wasn't small, and it wasn't safe. Megan held the second envelope like it might fall apart in her hands. The paper was thin, almost brittle. The ink had faded a little, but her mother's handwriting was unmistakable. Linda always looped her L's wide and left her N's looking like soft hills. "Do not open unless absolutely necessary." Those words felt heavier than the box itself. She sat cross-legged on the attic floor, the late afternoon sun sliding through the tiny window and warming her shoulder. It should have been comforting. It wasn't. Her heart felt like it had climbed into her throat. "Absolutely necessary," she whispered, rolling the words around. What does that even mean? She turned the envelope over, looking for clues, but there was nothing. No date, no seal. It wasn't taped or glued shut, just tucked in, ready to be opened anytime, but meant to stay closed. Her mother had been many things, but careless wasn't one of them. If she wrote that warning, she had a reason. Megan placed the envelope on the floor beside her and let out a slow, shaky breath. She hadn't planned for any of this. She just wanted a quiet Saturday, do a little cleaning, maybe watch a movie in the evening. Instead, she was knee-deep in secrets that felt like they belonged in someone else's life. She reached for the map again. The red route stood out like a scar, a straight line from her hometown across state borders towards a spot that didn't show up as anything on the legend. Not a campground, not a lookout, not even a rundown gas station. Just blank. She grabbed her phone and typed in the diner's name, Mason's Diner. The search results were thin. A couple of reviews from almost 10 years back, a blurry photo, and one short article about local businesses closing in rural Tennessee. She clicked the photo first. It matched the one in the picture with my mom and the unknown man. Same red sign, same chip paint on the window frames. So the photo was real. The place existed. At least it did once. She clicked the article next. It said the diner had closed in 2015 after the owners retired. Nothing suspicious, nothing dramatic, just a small town business fading out like so many others. But it didn't explain why my mother had been there, or who the man was, or why someone with gray stubble and tired eyes showed up at her front door all these years. And it definitely didn't explain the second envelope. Her stomach twisted. She got up, brushing dust from her jeans, and carried everything back downstairs. She arranged the items neatly on her kitchen table, like they were pieces of a puzzle she hadn't solved yet. The 2 envelopes, the map, the gas station receipt, the photo, the slip of paper with the 1997 date and RS. She took a step back and stared at it all. "All right," she muttered, crossing her arms. "What ties you together?" Her eyes landed on the photo again. The man next to her mother looked younger than the man who had come to her door, much younger. But the jawline, the shape of the eyes, the subtle smirk. Her breath hitched. Was it him? The same man, just decades apart? She zoomed into the photo again, studying every feature. The resemblance wasn't perfect, but it was close enough that her skin prickled. Her mind spun through memories, people passing through town, friends of her parents, old neighbors, but none of them matched this man. She rubbed her forehead, feeling a headache creeping in. She needed clarity. She needed answers. So she did something her mother used to do when life got tangled. She made a cup of tea, the real stuff, loose-leaf chamomile blend, the kind her mom kept in an old blue tin above the stove. As the water boiled, she leaned against the counter and stared out the window. The evening sun stretched long shadows across her yard, the kind of light that made everything look calmer than it really was. She took a sip, letting the warmth settle her nerves. That's when she remembered something small, something she hadn't thought about in years. When she was 18, she asked her mother why they never traveled north. Linda gone quiet, a beat too long. Then she'd said, "Honey, some places just aren't for us." Back then, it sounded like nothing. Now it sounded like a crack in the wall. Her phone buzzed on the table, snapping her out of her thoughts. A text from a number she didn't recognize. "Did you open it?" Megan froze. Her heart pounded once, hard. She lifted the phone, staring at the message. Her fingers trembled slightly as she typed back. "Who is this?" A long pause. Then, "You shouldn't be alone with this." Her chest tightened. A cold ripple went down her spine. She typed again. "Who are you?" Another pause, longer this time. "Ask your mother." Her grip tightened around the phone. "My mother is dead," she whispered. And then another message appeared. "Not everything she left behind is." Megan felt the room tilt for a moment. Not physically, just enough to make her breath catch. She tried calling the number. It rang once, twice, then cut off. Blocked. She stared at the phone screen, her pulse thudding in her ears. The tea on the counter went cold. Something was happening. Something big. Something her mother had gone out of her way to bury. She looked at the second envelope again. Do not open unless absolutely necessary. And for the first time she found it, she wondered if that moment had already arrived. She reached for it, heart beating fast, fingers gently pulling at the flap. And just as she opened it halfway, her porch light flicked on by itself. Motion sensor, triggered by someone or something. Outside, footsteps crunched. Slow, deliberate. Someone was at her house. Megan stood completely still. The house felt different now. Not warm, not familiar, just alert. Like the walls themselves were listening. Her porch light clicked again, a tiny electric buzz following it. It wasn't flickering. It wasn't broken. Something was moving outside, something close. She set the half-opened envelope down as quietly as she could and stepped back from the table. Her breath came shallow and slow. Not fear exactly, more like her body was trying to warn her before her mind caught up. She moved toward the front window, careful not to make the floorboards creak. From the side of the curtain, she peeked out onto the porch. At first, she didn't see anything. Just the soft glow of the light, the outline of her old rocking chair, the railings that needed repainting. Then she spotted it. A shadow. Not a person. Not fully. Just the shape of someone standing off to the right, outside the light's range. Far enough to hide, close enough to watch. Her heartbeat thudded hard in her ears. She stepped back from the window, pressing her back against the wall. Her phone sat on the table behind her, but her legs wouldn't move yet. It felt like if she even breathed too loud, whoever was out there would know. She whispered to herself, "Think, Meg, come on." She peeked again. The shadow shifted, just a little. Someone was there, definitely. She grabbed her phone and quietly dialed the sheriff's office non-emergency line. She wasn't about to call 911 unless she had to. That kind of panic spread fast in a small town. But before she hit call, the shadow stepped into the light. Her breath caught. It wasn't the man from earlier, but she knew who it was. Rita, her neighbor 2 houses down. Late 60s, walked with a slight limp, known for her loud sweaters and even louder opinions. "What the?" she whispered, confused, breath shaking with all the adrenaline she'd braced for. She opened the door quickly but quietly. "Rita, what are you doing? You scared the hell out of me." Rita jumped a little at the sight of her. "Lord, Megan, I didn't mean to spook you." She pressed her hand to her chest. "Didn't think you'd open the door that fast." "You were standing in the dark. Why?" Rita hesitated. "I saw someone parked across the street for a while. Didn't recognize the car. It drove off about 5 minutes ago. I came over to check on you." Megan's stomach tightened. Someone was watching the house? Looked like it. Maybe I'm wrong, but honey, I've lived on this street for 30 years. I know when something feels off. Megan swallowed hard. "There's been some weird stuff happening today." Rita nodded, stepping a bit closer, lowering her voice. "Are you okay? You look pale." I'm fine. I tried anyway. Because she didn't look fine. And she didn't feel fine. Rita glanced over Megan's shoulder, noticing the papers on the kitchen table. You working on something? Megan moved to block the view. Just cleaning the attic. Rita nodded again, slow and knowing. Well, if you need anything, I'm just down the street. And if that car shows up again, you call me, you hear? I will. The older woman touched her arm gently, then shuffled back down the porch steps and made her way home. Megan watched until she disappeared into the dark. As she closed the door, she exhaled hard, tension draining just a little from her shoulders. But the quiet didn't feel normal anymore. It felt loaded, like the world had tilted and wasn't leveling out. She walked back to the table and picked up the second envelope again. Her mother's warning looked sharper now. Do not open unless absolutely necessary. She finished pulling the flap open with slow, careful fingers and slid out a folded sheet of paper. It was thin, delicate, almost translucent with age. Her mother's handwriting filled the page. As she unfolded it, her throat tightened. Megan, if you're reading this, it means the past caught up faster than I hoped. Please listen to me. You were never supposed to carry this burden. Her words blurred for a second as her eyes stung. She blinked and kept reading. The man in the photo is named Robert. You don't know him, but he knew you. He knew you before you were born. Her hand shook. He wasn't a stranger. He wasn't a friend. He was family. And he was dangerous in a way I couldn't protect you from forever. Megan's breath came out in a rough, shaky gasp. Family. Dangerous. Before she was born? She kept reading. If he finds you, don't trust him. If he talks to you, don't believe him. And whatever you do, don't go to the place on the map. That place was meant to stay buried. Megan felt her heartbeat stutter. Her eyes went to the map on the table, the circled spot in the middle of nowhere. She looked back at the letter. I'm sorry. For everything. For leaving secrets behind. For thinking I could outrun them. Forgive me, sweetheart. Love. Mom. Megan lowered the letter slowly, tears gathering in her eyes but not falling. Family. Dangerous. Don't go to the place on the map. She pressed a trembling hand to her forehead. How the hell was she supposed to make sense of this? A sudden vibration on the table snapped her out of it. Her phone. A text. Same unknown number as before. He's coming back. Her whole body went cold. She stared at the message, feeling her pulse thud hard against her ribs. Whoever he was, whoever her mother warned her about, he wasn't done, and he wasn't far. Megan tightened her fingers around her phone until her knuckles went white. He's coming back. 3 words. That's all it took to make the room tilt again. Not in a dramatic way, more like her body bracing for something her mind wasn't ready to accept yet. She swallowed hard and forced herself to breathe. Slow in, slow out. She typed back, "Who is he?" The response came almost instantly. "Look outside." Her stomach dropped. She stepped back from the table, eyes fixed on the front window. Her heart hammered hard, her ribs ached. She tried to convince herself it was some prank, some scam, anything other than what it felt like. But the air in the house felt heavy again, still charged. She moved toward the window, soft steps, careful not to make a sound. She pushed the curtain just enough to see the street. There it was, a white truck, parked across the road. Same one from earlier, but the man wasn't inside. Then she saw him, standing on the sidewalk, facing her house, hands in his pockets, watching. Her heartbeat spiked hard. The room blurred around the edges. She didn't have to zoom in to know it was him, the man from earlier, the one who'd handed her the folded paper like it was nothing. He wasn't moving, wasn't approaching, just watching her house with a calm patience that made her skin crawl. She ducked back behind the curtain, breathing fast and shallow. No, this isn't happening. She grabbed her phone and dialed the sheriff's office again. This time she didn't hesitate, but before the call connected, a knock echoed through the house. Not from the front door, not from the back. The side door. The one no one used. The one that opened straight into the laundry room. Her breath hitched. Her phone nearly slipped from her hand. Knock, knock, knock. Slow, steady, patient. She stepped backward, eyes wide, heart slamming in her chest. The walls felt too close now, the air too thin. The knocking stopped. A beat of silence stretched through the house, tense and waiting. Then, his voice. "Megan." Her heart froze. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It wasn't even threatening. It was calm. Familiar. Too familiar. She covered her mouth with her hand, fighting the urge to make any sound. "Megan," he said again, his tone steady. "I just want to talk." She shook her head, though he couldn't see her. "No," she whispered. "No, you don't." He tried the doorknob. Thank God she'd locked it earlier. The handle rattled once. Then again, firmer this time. She stepped farther back, trying not to let her breathing turn into gasps. "Megan," he said softly, "I know you found the box. I know you found the letters." Tears pricked the corners of her eyes. How did he know that? "I can explain," he said. "Your mother didn't tell you everything. She couldn't." Her voice cracked when she finally forced out a response. "Go away." He sighed. Not annoyed, not angry, just almost sad. "I never wanted it to be like this. Your mom thought she was protecting you, but she never protected you from the truth." She pressed her hands to her ears. She didn't want to hear this, not from him, not through a locked door in the dark. He hit the door once, a solid thump that made her jump. "You deserve to know who you are." "No," she cried out, louder than she meant. He fell silent for a long moment, and then, in the quiet, he said something that made her knees tremble. "I'm your father." The world seemed to tilt under her feet. Her breath caught in her throat, a sharp pain blooming in her chest. Her mother's letter flashed in her mind. He was family. He was dangerous. Don't trust him. She backed away until she hit the hallway wall, tears blurring her vision. "No," she whispered. "No, you don't." "I'm not." His voice was steady, certain. "Your mother thought she could keep you away from all of this, away from me, away from what happened in '97. But things don't stay buried forever." Her legs felt weak. Her pulse throbbed in her throat. He continued, "Open the first envelope, Megan. Then you'll understand." Her gaze flicked to the kitchen cable. The envelope with her name, still sealed, still waiting. She didn't want to open it. She didn't want any of this. "Go away," she whispered again, her voice cracking. "Megan, go away." A long silence followed. Then footsteps, slow, walking away from the door. She darted back to the window. He walked to his truck, opened the door, then paused and looked back at the house. Even from a distance, even through glass, she felt the weight of that stare, like he was looking through walls, straight into her. Then he got in the truck. The engine turned. The headlights came on, and he drove away. But Megan didn't feel safe, not even a little, because on the table, her phone buzzed again. One new message from the same unknown number. "It's not him. Your father you should be afraid of." Megan stared at the message, shaking so hard she nearly dropped her phone. If he wasn't the real threat, then who was? Megan didn't move for a long moment. The message sat on her screen like a warning carved in stone. Her fingers trembled as she set the phone down, her throat tight and burning. She kept replaying the knock at the door, the voice calling her name, the way he said, "I'm your father," like it was some lost apology. But now something else hung over her, something worse. If he wasn't the threat, who was? The house felt too quiet, too still. She could hear her own heartbeat in her ears. She forced her legs to move and walked back to the kitchen table. The envelopes waited for her. The one with her name sat on top like it was daring her to open it. Her mother's handwriting, her mother's warning, her mother's fear. She ran her fingers across the edge of the paper, hesitating for seconds but then tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of lined paper folded neatly, like her mother had written it in a hurry but still wanted it to look careful. She opened it. "Megan, if you're reading this, then something has gone wrong. I wanted to tell you more about him, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to explain what happened without breaking you. There are things about our past I never wanted you to carry." She blurred her eyes for a second. She blinked hard and kept going. "You were born into something that didn't end when we left. I tried to keep you safe. I tried to keep him away, but I wasn't only protecting you from him." She froze. "It's your uncle you need to fear, not your father." A slow chill crawled up her spine. She remembered the man in the street, the white truck, the folded paper. That wasn't a threat. It was a warning, a desperate one. Her chest tightened. "If your uncle ever finds you, don't trust him. He will act like a friend. He will act calm. He will act like he cares. He doesn't. He never did. He only wants control. He will come for the house. He will come for you. And he won't stop." Megan let the paper lower to the table. Her hands shook uncontrollably. Before she could process anything, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number, same one as before. She swallowed and picked it up. "He's closer than you think." Her breath hitched. Her heart jumped painfully. "No, not now. Not tonight. She moved to the window and slowly pulled the curtain back. The street was empty. The truck was gone. Everything was still. She turned, and a soft creak echoed from the back hallway. Her body went rigid. Another creak. Closer. She grabbed her phone, but her hand was shaking too much to tap the emergency button. A shadow moved near the laundry room door, slow, deliberate. Her throat tightened, her feet refused to move. Then a voice floated through the dark. "Megan, you awake?" Her stomach sunk. She didn't recognize the voice. It wasn't her father. It wasn't anyone she knew. It was calm, friendly, too friendly. "Megan, it's all right," the voice said softly. "I just want to talk. Your mom would want that, don't you think?" Her heart stopped. This wasn't a stranger. This was exactly who her mother warned her about. He stepped forward into the dim light of the hallway, a tall man, neatly dressed, with the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. Her uncle, the real threat. She stumbled backward, almost tripping over a chair. He lifted his hands like he wanted to calm her. "We don't need to scare each other," he said gently. "I'm family. I've been trying to find you for years." Her phone buzzed again in her hand. She barely dared to look down. A new message from the same unknown number. "Get out. Now." Her father was warning her. He'd been trying to protect her all along. She lunged toward the front door. Her uncle moved fast. "Don't," he snapped, the softness vanishing from his voice like someone flipped a switch. But she didn't stop. She yanked open the door and bolted into the night air, heart pounding so hard she could barely hear anything else. Behind her, she heard him shout her name. He followed her onto the porch, but headlights swept across the driveway. A truck. White. Fast. Her father pulled up hard, gravel spraying. He threw open the passenger door. "Megan, get in." She didn't hesitate. She sprinted. He reached out and grabbed her arm, pulling her up into the seat as the truck lurched forward. Her uncle yelled something behind them, but his voice faded as they sped down the road. Megan slammed the door shut and locked it. Her chest heaved, her hands shook. She stared at the man behind the wheel. He looked older than she expected. Tired, worn down, but his eyes, they were kind. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I should have come sooner." She didn't know what to say. She didn't know how to breathe. All she whispered was, "Why now?" He gripped the wheel tighter. "To save you." Outside, the house disappeared behind them, and everything Megan thought she knew about her family, about her mother, about herself, was gone. 6 months later, the quiet wasn't something Megan trusted anymore. Not even now. Not even after everything that happened. She stood on the back porch of her rental house in northern Idaho. The air smelled like pine and cold river water. A soft breeze pushed through the trees, brushing against her face like the world trying to remind her she was still here, still safe. For the moment. Inside, a kettle whistled faintly. She let it scream a few seconds longer before walking in to take it off the stove. She was calmer now, steadier, more aware. But none of this was over. She poured the hot water into her mug, the steam curling up across her face, warming her cheeks. She sat at the small kitchen table and pulled her notebook closer. Her new habit. She wrote everything down now. Memories, clues, names, questions. And every page came back to the same fear. Her uncle hadn't been caught. The investigation stalled. The sheriff's office in her hometown never found him. The house had been searched, the woods combed, the neighbors questioned. He had vanished like a shadow slipping under a door. No footprints, no car, no trail, just silence. Her father's voice echoed in her head sometimes. That night in the truck, the way he said, "I should have come sooner," like it was a bruise he carried every day. They didn't speak often now, not because she didn't want to, but because he said contact wasn't safe. Not yet. Every so often, her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Always short, always vague, always a warning. 3 days ago, he's asking around again. Last week, don't go back to the house. And today, as I finished my tea and flipped my notebook closed, my phone lit up again. Unknown number. My stomach clenched. I picked it up slowly. He knows where you are. Her breath caught. She stood from the table and walked to the back window, peeking through the blinds. The yard was empty. The tree line was still. The air was cold and sharp. Her pulse picked up. Just enough to make her fingers tremble. She typed back, "What should I do?" The response came immediately. "Pack a bag, leave everything else. I'm on my way." She swallowed hard. Then another message came through. "Lock the doors, don't look outside, and whatever you do, don't answer if someone knocks." Her chest tightened, her skin prickled, a chill ran through her spine that she couldn't shake. She set the phone down, turned the deadbolt on every door, and backed away from the windows. Then, a knock. Soft, slow. 3 taps. Her blood turned cold. The phone buzzed again on the counter. She didn't want to look, but she forced herself. Another message. "That's not me." The knock came again, harder this time. Her heart pounded so loud it drowned out everything else. She reached for the hallway closet where she kept her emergency bag. Her hands shook as she unzipped it. Another knock. Louder. She backed into the hallway, bag clutched in her hands, tears gathering in her eyes. Then, a calm voice drifted through the door. "Megan, open up. It's time we finished what your mother started." Her knees weakened. Her breath stuttered. Her uncle, still calm, still patient, still smiling through the wood. She grabbed her keys, her phone, her bag, and ran out the back door into the cold, dark woods as the knocking turned into pounding. Branches snapped under her feet. Her breath came out in white clouds. Her heart felt like it would break her rib cage. Behind her, from the house, she heard the front door crash open. She didn't look back. She didn't dare. She ran toward the only hope she had left, her father. And somewhere behind her, too close, too familiar, came the sound of footsteps following her into the trees.